Today I'm speaking with you about the harsh rules in the society of women as described in my recent book. Clan elders established rules or bylaws to govern the rigid society. Society was created after women survived a terrible post-apocalyptic doom and suffered tremendously at the hand of their male captors. In this dystopian society, everyone has a part to play, and play by the rules they must, or suffer harsh consequences. The rules and consequences were especially harsh for boys and men as payback for how women and girls were treated in the previous world and during the post apocalyptic doom. This is Kurt B. Ellis, an author who self publishes with Amazon's Kindle Direct Publishing. Stay tuned and let me share excerpts from this new dystopian society's harsh, rigid rules. Rules for new births. Only sound and fit babies born to approved mothers were allowed to live. Those determined fit to live were given clan protection. Those unfit were eliminated. Rules for boys. Boys could live with their clans until age 6. Then they were separated and lived in birth groups in dorms where they were educated and given obedience training by eunuchs. You will honor, respect, and obey all women. You will honor, respect, and obey your teachers. You will never strike or do anything to bring harm to a woman or girl, even if provoked. You will live to serve women, and your body will please women. You will address women by their formal titles. You will always show respect and politeness to women, saying, "Yes, ma'am," "No, ma'am," "Yes, my lady," and "No, my lady." You will always bow when a woman enters a room. You will always obey orders from a woman without question. You will only speak to women when spoken to by a woman. You must never start a conversation with a woman. At 14, final selections were made. Boys selected as breeders were allowed to live and moved to the men's dorm. Those not selected were eliminated. Rules for studs. In the men's dorm, selected boys were trained for breeding, that is, introduced to the refined skills necessary for the acts of mating. Then these young men, now called studs, were put into service. Eunuchs took care of the studs, ensuring they were well groomed and appropriately maintained. Studs were fed a restricted diet to ensure performance, but not enough to become too muscular. Rules for eunuchs. Eunuchs were created by castration of a limited number of male babies born to serve women. They lived with their clans until age 10 and then were moved to the men's dorm for training by older eunuchs. Rules for girls. Girls lived with their birth clans and were raised by their wet nurses and mothers. At 6, girls started school where they were educated separately from boys. Girls, too, had to honor their mothers and clan elders and respect council rules. The curriculum included history, mathematics, reading, writing, singing, and clan care. At 14, the top 50% of girls were selected as breeders. At 16, after training about pregnancy and motherhood, the young women were put into service as breeders. Rules for Pleasure House. Pleasure house passes were granted to reward women who had exhibited good behavior and a strong work ethic. Studs worked in the pleasure house to satisfy the many sexual desires of the women. Now, practically speaking, realize this is a book of fiction, and nevertheless, none of this is to be taken literally. However, it makes one wonder how far people will go after being pushed to harsh extremes. Intrigued? Want to learn more? Then escape into my dystopian fantasy in a post-apocalyptic world. Click on the links below and give my books a try. I'd love to hear from you. So visit my website. If you enroll and opt in with your email, I'll send you a free copy of the first chapter of my latest book. Thank you for your time and have a wonderful day.